Today we are going to dive into the history of some of the most feared and powerful Native American tribes. Known for their bravery and relentless combat strategies, 3 tribes stand out as particularly terrifying. These tribes not only dominated their territories, but also instilled fear, even in their most powerful enemies. Before we continue, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our upcoming content full of discoveries and intriguing stories. One of these tribes, called the Lords of the Plains, was known by the Ute word Comanche, which translates to those who always want to fight, or simply enemy. Originally from the Shoshone tribe in the western United States, in the vast and challenging Great Basin, the Comanches were masters in the art of war and survival, becoming a name synonymous with power and fear. Stay tuned as we explore the stories of confrontation and domination by these iconic figures in Native American history. Discoveries in anthropology have shown that several tribes shared common traits, like language and way of life, all part of the large Uto-Aztecan language family that originated in the American West. When the Europeans arrived, especially the Spanish in the 16th century, horses were introduced to North America. These animals were quickly adopted by the native tribes, revolutionizing their culture. The Comanches, for example, became skilled traders with neighboring tribes like the Pueblo, who were already under Spanish influence, or other plains tribes that had horses. They traded buffalo hides, captives, and other goods for horses, which turned them into remarkable horsemen. With this new skill, they expanded their territory far beyond their Shoshone origins, reaching the buffalo-rich plains of eastern Colorado and western Kansas. Their mastery of horseback riding not only improved their hunting abilities, but also strengthened their power in trade and warfare. In Comanche society, horses were much more than just a means of transportation. They were symbols of status and power. From a young age, Comanche children learned to ride, developing exceptional horseback riding skills that were valued by both men and women. They were also experts in taming wild horses. This process started with capturing the animal using a technique where they would rope the horse and gently suffocate it until it passed out, then revive it by blowing into its nose. Once the horse regained consciousness, they would take care of it, cleaning it and removing the wilder hairs around its eyes. And then they'd put a bridle on to help control the animal. The wild horse was often paired with a calm mare, allowing it to get used to human presence and form a bond. After a few days of adjustment, the horse was released, but would still stay close to the mare. When it was time to teach the horse to be ridden, the handler would take it to a spot with deep water or a sandy creek bed, which made it easier to control the animal and reduce the risk of injury in case it resisted. An Englishman who spent 8 years among the Comanches described his impressions. On foot, they seemed slow and awkward, but once on horseback, they transformed into masters of riding, showing unmatched grace and daring. On the battlefield, the Comanches were truly formidable. They would charge into battle with thunderous war cries, almost completely hiding their bodies behind their horses, leaving only one foot visible. With incredible skill, they would fire bullets and arrows over and under their horses' necks, hitting their targets with deadly accuracy. Each Comanche warrior had a favorite war horse that was reserved solely for combat. The women of the tribe, just as fearless, were skilled in roping antelope and hunting buffalo on horseback. With these abilities, the Comanches quickly expanded their power, becoming known for their ruthless and brutal approach to warfare. They displayed fierce determination and extreme violence against their enemies. After Spain acquired Louisiana from France, Spanish soldiers reported that in terms of cavalry and combat courage, the Comanches were unparalleled. They rarely negotiated for peace, and their boldness and tenacity constantly challenged the efforts of the French, Spanish, and Americans to take their lands, often leading to deadly conflicts with European settlers. The Comanches, a notoriously formidable indigenous group, played a crucial role in delaying Spanish expansion in North America by almost half a century. Known for their intense ferocity in battle, they earned a fearsome reputation through nighttime raids known as the Comanche Moon. During these raids, Comanche warriors, mounted on hundreds of horses, would storm settlements in northern Mexico, carrying out massacres, kidnapping women, and stealing horses. They also attacked European settlers crossing their territory, stealing horses that were later sold in the Spanish-Mexican Empire or the United States. Despite being a tribe of about 40,000 members, Comanche culture placed great value on horse ownership, with each member typically having 2 or 3 animals. Young warriors in the tribe were encouraged to go on frequent raids as a way to prove their worth and skill in combat. These acts not only earned them prestige but also wealth and respect within their communities. Additionally, Comanche women were notably known for their severe and effective torture techniques used on prisoners. The book Empire of the Summer Moon by S.E. Gwynne presents an intense narrative about the conflicts between the Comanches and settlers in the territories that now make up the United States. Gwynne portrays the Comanches not just as an indigenous tribe, but as the most feared of all those encountered by the Spanish, French, Mexicans, Texans, and Americans over the centuries. He vividly details the violent acts committed by the Comanches, ranging from torture to mass rapes, which stood out for their ferocity during these encounters. In another account, Comanche, The History of a People by T.R. Fehrenbach, we are taken to a particularly grim episode involving the Parker family, pioneers at Fort Parker. On a fateful day in 1836, approximately 100 Comanche warriors, under the false pretense of peace symbolized by a white flag, approached the fort. Benjamin Parker, attempting to negotiate, was brutally killed. The subsequent attack was marked by war cries and extreme violence, leading to death and terror for everyone at the fort. This episode highlights not only the brutality of the time, but also the complex interactions between Native Americans and European settlers in North American territory. Before we dive into the history of the next incredibly powerful tribe, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now let's talk about the Iroquois Confederacy, or Haudenosaunee, also known as the Six Nations. This alliance is a testament to the political and social sophistication of the indigenous peoples of North America, formed by the union of distinct tribes, including the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca. From the Mohawk, who were positioned in the east and played a crucial role in early interactions with European settlers, to the Oneida and Onondaga, deeply rooted in the Great Lakes region, each nation contributed uniquely to this strong alliance. The Iroquois, known for their military skills, often extended their borders by attacking neighboring tribes, instilling fear in their enemies, and dominating various Native American nations. Tribes like the Huron, Erie, and Susquehannock were deeply affected by these raids. From a very young age, Iroquois warriors were trained in the use of bows, arrows, spears, and clubs, sharpening their combat techniques. By their teenage years, they were already actively participating in raids against other native groups, and at times even European settlers. This early initiation into battle shaped them into relentless warriors, fighting with fierce dedication to achieve victory. Their military prowess not only earned them individual respect, but also paved the way for them to rise as military leaders. One of the most brutal aspects of their warfare was the treatment of prisoners, who were forced to run between 2 rows of warriors armed with spiked clubs, enduring a painful range of physical punishments. The intensity of intertribal conflicts in North America and strict military discipline left a deep mark on Iroquois society. One of the most violent periods was the Beaver Wars in the 17th century, when the Iroquois Confederacy fought to expand its borders, achieving significant victories like the subjugation of the Susquehannocks in what is now Pennsylvania. During this time, the Iroquois also severely weakened the Hurons near the Great Lakes, solidifying their influence and control over a vast area that stretched from the west to northern Michigan and down to the hills of Tennessee by the early 1700s, when they reached the peak of their power. A key factor in their success was their remarkable ability to maintain cohesion among the diverse nations that made up the Confederacy. This unity was especially evident during the French and Indian War, when the Iroquois nations came together to support the British. This alignment exemplifies the strength of their union, reminiscent of the biblical verse that says, "If one can overpower him who is alone, 2 can resist him, and a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken." This metaphor highlights the strength and resilience that come from unity and collaboration. The Apaches, part of the southern branch of the Athabascans, form a community with roots that stretch from Alaska and western Canada to the southwestern United States. This linguistic and cultural network covers a vast region, historically inhabited by different Apache factions, from the Arkansas River to northern Mexico and from central Texas to Arizona. Surrounded by formidable empires, the Apaches not only survived but thrived in the face of challenges posed by the Spanish, Comanches, UTEs, and Americans. Adapted to life in the rugged terrain they called home, they became experts in guerrilla warfare tactics, skillfully using both traditional bows and modern rifles brought by the Europeans. Apache warriors were known for their ability to fire multiple arrows quickly while riding horses with great skill. Their survival strategies, based on stealth and surprise, were not only effective but also essential to their renowned military prowess. They were true masters of disguise and surprise attacks, experts at hiding and striking when least expected. Apache warriors were masters of surprise, suddenly emerging from hiding spots to launch quick and devastating attacks on their opponents, leaving them shaken and at a disadvantage. They were known for their agility, both on foot and on horseback, covering great distances with impressive speed, which allowed them to strike and retreat before the enemy could recover. The Apache's adaptability was remarkable. They incorporated horses and steel weapons obtained from the Spanish into their combat strategies, showing an incredible ability to absorb new technologies. They became exceptionally skilled with spears and knives, making them even more deadly in close combat. General Crook's description of the Apaches as the tigers of the human race perfectly captures the respect and fear these warriors commanded through their skill and formidable battle tactics. The Apaches were formidable warriors, known for their physical endurance that allowed them to rival mounted fighters even on foot. They displayed impressive agility and, in combat, were masters of archery, able to fire multiple arrows so quickly that several would be in the air before the first one hit the target. In battle, their cruelty also stood out. Captives were brutally tortured and killed without mercy. This ferocity made the Apaches feared by all who knew their battle legends. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more updates.